Earlier this week, Congress announced a formal investigation into the leadership at Fort Hood. Tonight, our local congressional candidates are weighing in. Fox 44's Cameron Stewart talked to the candidates today vying for Congressman Bill Flores' seat in Congress and got their thoughts on that investigation. Hey, Cameron.
Hey, Kendall, you know, in a few months' time, one of these candidates could actually be assisting with the congressional investigation. But for now, they're finding some common ground. So far this year, 28 soldiers from the post have died. Among those have been the high-profile cases of Sergeant Elder Fernandez and Private Gregory Weedle Morales, and the national attention surrounding the murder of Specialist Vanessa Guillen. The Army is holding its own investigation as well, and both are looking into the culture and training on the post. Both congressional candidates from the 17th District, Republican Pete Sessions and Democrat Rick Kennedy, believe Congress stepping in to take a deeper look at the post is the right move.
I fully support the men and women who serve at Fort Hood and in our armed services all around the world. They put their lives on the line every day to keep us safe, to keep our nation secure. And it's our responsibility to make sure that we have systems and the culture in place to keep them as safe as possible.
I'm satisfied that we need to now wait for the answer. And when a weakness, an occurrence, or something is discovered, to take immediate action.
To hear more reaction from both candidates, be sure to check out Fox 44 News at 9. Live in the newsroom, I'm Cameron Stewart, Fox 44 News.
Well, they're finding common ground. I can find common ground with Mike on this good weather. What do you think about it, Mike?
Yeah, it looks pretty good out there, Kendall. We like the cool weather. It's always nice to get away from those triple digits for a little while. Well, we made it into the 60s, and we've been in the 60s all day long. 67 degrees, the current temperature right now in Waco. Our wind out of the north at 14. And you can see the humidity stands at 71%. As for the rainfall, nothing on top of us for the most part. And as I put this into motion, scattered showers have been firing well off to our west. And you notice not much down to the south of us. So if you are headed out this evening, we are looking high and dry across our area. But rain right now from Wichita Falls down through the Abilene area around San Angelo and not too far away from Midland. And that's all tracking to the northeast at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. Cloud cover, yes, it's out there. So expect a cloudy night. With the clouds on top of us, temperatures are not going to do much. Again, we're in the upper 60s. We may fall into the upper 50s by early tomorrow morning, but the clouds are on top of us right now. They will start to thin out by this time tomorrow. We'll talk more about that and your weekend coming up in a few more minutes. Kendall?
Looking forward to it, Mike. An attempt at another round of federal coronavirus relief failed on Capitol Hill. Kelly Meyer shares what went down and where lawmakers can go from here.
Congress has spent months talking.
Despite that, the GOP proposal to help those impacted by the coronavirus pandemic,
the motion is not agreed to,
failed to advance in the Senate. Florida Republican Senator Rick Scott says he isn't giving up hope.
I'm going to keep working.
Scott says he supported the targeted package that addressed unemployment insurance, small business loans, and education funding. Scott admits the GOP bill doesn't address every idea, but it helps those in immediate need.
This bill is better than where we started, but unfortunately the Democrats don't care.
Republicans are blaming Democrats for holding up the relief, but Democrats say there isn't enough in the GOP relief bill to begin with.
Let's not have a skinny bill when we have a massive problem.
House Speaker Democrat Nancy Pelosi hit Senate Republicans for not taking up the $3 trillion HEROES Act that passed the House 4 months ago. Republicans have said it was too costly.
We need every penny in order to stop this.
Among the things left out of the GOP bill, money for state and local governments and a second round of stimulus checks.
They're not in this package, but I support a $1,200 stimulus check.
South Carolina Republican Senator Lindsey Graham says he'd like to see another direct payment to Americans making less than $75,000.
We need another round of stimulus, and I hope we can find a way for it.
Reporting in Washington, I'm Kelly Meyer.
In our health report, the number of reported coronavirus cases in the U.S. may not be reflected in the true burden of the pandemic. Researchers at UC Berkeley ran an analysis on the number of confirmed cases in the U.S. from February to April. By accounting for incomplete testing and imperfect accuracy, researchers estimate the true number of infections to be 3 to 20 times higher than the number of confirmed cases. There have been more than 6.3 million cases for the virus reported in the U.S. since the pandemic began, and at least 190,000 deaths. Fewer teenagers are vaping. That's according to the new report from the CDC. Health officials analyzing data gathered from 20,000 teens between January and March of this year. Experts found less than 20% of the high school students and under 5% of middle schoolers claim to vape. These results showing a large decrease in the number of underage vapors, with last year's data showing close to 30% of high schoolers and 11% of middle schoolers saying they vaped. An increase in vaping illnesses last year caused officials to ban flavored e-cigarettes and vaping products, as well as increase the age to buy tobacco to 21. But the CDC says the survey finds vaping is down amongst teenagers. It also found disposable e-cigarette usage is going up. A recent study shows many of us have used money to transfer apps like Venmo, Zelle, and Cash App, and the pandemic has expanded that use even more. But a downside to these apps: if money is lost in transfers, it is often lost for good. Cash App does not have a live support number, but if you Google a Cash App and use the number listed, it's a scam. And it happened to two Midwestern women who tried to call a number found on the Google for help transferring money. Instead of the scammers transferred to money into their own account. And Cash App says they will not be refunding the women.
Typically, there's little you can do to recover your funds. They specifically state that they're not responsible for fraud or negligence due on your own part.
The thief has access to your phone. They can go right in there. The first thing they're probably going to do is look for Cash Apps like Venmo or Apple Pay.
Zelle, a similar app, says they wouldn't provide a refund under these circumstances either. In June, Cash App had more than 30 million active customers. Its profits are up nearly 170% since last year. A drug maker shares when it should know if the experimental vaccine protects people against COVID-19. And TikTok is in talks to avoid a full sale of the U.S. operations. CHERYL has more in today's Fox Business Briefs.
ASTRAZENECA says a COVID-19 vaccine it's developing with the University of Oxford could still be ready by the end of the year, even though it has paused trials after someone in the UK developed an unexplained illness. CEO Pascal Soriot says he still expects data from the trials to be presented to regulators for approval by the end of the year, and that manufacturing for global distribution of the vaccine should be ready by early next year. Soriot says that more tests are being done on the person who developed those symptoms. Turning to TikTok, the app's parent company ByteDance reportedly in talks with the U.S. to avoid a complete sale of its U.S. division. This following the Chinese government's steps to put new restrictions on exporting AI, which complicates the talks. Companies like Microsoft, Oracle, and Walmart all considered potential buyers. Well, have a favorite toy? The 2020 finalists for the Toy Hall of Fame have been announced. The 12 finalists include Bingo, Jenga, Light Bright, My Little Pony, Baby Nancy, and the board game Sorry. And tee it high and let it fly. The socially distant sport golf is enjoying a renaissance as COVID-19 forces players to find alternatives to contact sports. The National Golf Foundation says the number of rounds played was up 20% in July year over year, and that means 10 million more rounds were played that month. And GF says participation by 35 to 49-year-olds has grown the most, with 2 of 3 saying a lack of recreational alternatives is pushing them into golf. Well, for more, log on to foxbusiness.com. In New York, I'm CHERYL CASONE.
Coming up, after fires forced thousands of California residents out of their homes, we'll show you what some of them returned home to find.
We are looking at dry conditions, but cloudy and cool conditions on the way. Warmer weather as we approach the weekend. We'll talk about that, and I have the latest on the burn bans.